Prime Minister Narendra Modi to take part in the European Council meeting as special invitee today, along with the heads of states of all 27 European Union members. Leaders will exchange views on COVID-19 pandemic and healthcare cooperation, besides regional and global issues of mutual interest. As a further relief during COVID pandemic, Centre relaxes Section 269 ST of Income Tax Act. This will allow medical facilities providing COVID treatment to receive cash payments of 2 lakhs or more. Relaxation to be in effect till May 31st. India's vaccination coverage exceeds 16 crore 71 lakh doses after 112 days. More than 21 lakh vaccine doses administered yesterday. Total samples tested so far crossed 30 crore mark. Meanwhile, country reports more than 4 lakh new cases and more than 4,000 deaths in last 24 hours. India continues to receive aid in form of life-saving medicines and medical equipment, and its Tarkash leaves Qatar carrying 2 cryogenic tankers with 40 MT of oxygen. 25,600 more vials of remdesivir arrive in Mumbai from the US. States continue with efforts to curb spread of COVID-19. Kerala goes on 9-day statewide lockdown from today. Tamil Nadu and Karnataka announced 2-week lockdown from Monday. In international news, countries gradually return to normalcy as COVID situation across the globe shows improvement. Britain to resume international travel from 17th May. Greece to reopen beaches and museums in coming days. Mexican capital to resume open-air concerts and sports events. Hello and welcome to this edition of the news. I'm Rukma in our top story. At the invitation of the President of the European Council, Charles Michel, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will today participate in the meeting of the European Council as a special invitee. The India-EU leaders meeting is hosted by Prime Minister of Portugal, Antonio Costa. Portugal currently holds the presidency of the Council of the European Union. Prime Minister will participate in the meeting along with the heads of state or government of all 27 EU member states. The EU plus 27 have met in this format only once before with the US President in March this year. The leaders will exchange views on the COVID-19 pandemic and healthcare cooperation, fostering sustainable and inclusive growth, strengthening the India-EU economic partnership as well as regional and global issues of mutual interest. The India-EU leaders meeting is an unprecedented opportunity for discussion with all the leaders of the EU member states. Ahead of the India-EU Leadership Summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Portugal Premier Antonio Costa jointly wrote on India-EU ties in a foreign news journal, The Politico. The virtual India-EU leaders meet is being hosted by the Portugal Prime Minister. India's role as a major regional and global player is set to continue to expand over the coming years, and a strengthened partnership would offer Europe an opportunity to diversify relations in a strategic region of the world. The Porto EU-India leaders meeting promises to be a pivotal moment in giving new momentum to the partnership between the world's 2 largest democratic spaces, made up of over 1.8 billion people. This dialogue will be crucial to rebalance relations between the EU and the Indo-Pacific. The meeting is a chance to expand cooperation between the European Union and India in new areas of decisive importance for the development of contemporary societies and economies. The digital transition, connectivity, mobility, health, the energy transition and climate action. The meeting is also an opportunity to give a new impetus to trade and investment negotiations between the EU and India. The European Union is India's biggest trading partner and the second largest destination for Indian exports. Trade between the European Union and India has increased 72% in the last decade. The EU is also the leading foreign investor in India. It is the right time to resume negotiations towards an ambitious and balanced trade agreement capable of acting as a key driver for sustainable growth and jobs creation, both for India and Europe. Apart from everything else, an EU-India agreement would send a powerful signal to the world in support of the benefits of international trade cooperation. On the occasion of the historic and first ever India-EU plus 27 all leaders meeting today, hosted by Portugal, the City Hall of Porto was lit up last night in the colors of the Indian flag, or rather the Indian national colors. And the government has exempted Section 269 ST of the IT Act for hospitals, other medical facilities providing COVID-19 treatment. The Finance Ministry in a notification said that the ministry exempts hospitals, dispensaries, nursing homes, COVID care centers or similar other medical facilities providing treatment to COVID-19 for the purpose of Section 269 ST of the Income Tax Act. For payment received in cash during 1st April 2021 to 31st May 2021. The relaxation granted after obtaining PAN or Aadhaar of the patient and the payer, and the relationship between the patient and the payee by such hospitals, dispensaries, nursing homes, COVID care centers or similar other medical facilities. India is continuing to bolster its COVID-19 vaccination program under a liberalized and accelerated phase 3. The cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country stands at 16 crore 73 lakh 46,544. A total of 22 lakhs 97,257 vaccine doses were given in the past 24 hours, of which more than 9 lakh 87,000 were provided the first dose, while over 13 lakh 9,000 were inoculated with the second jab. And as India continues to ramp up its tracing, testing and treating strategy in the fight against COVID, as per the Indian Council of Medical Research, the country has so far tested 30 crore 4 lakh 10,043 samples of COVID. Of this, 18 lakhs 8,344 samples were tested in the past 24 hours. India's battle against COVID-19 continues. India has registered 4 lakh 1,078 new COVID-19 cases and more than 4,000 fatalities in the past 24 hours. With this, the country's fatality rate stands at 1.09%. India's active cases stand above 37 lakhs 23,000, while a total of 1 crore 79 lakh 30,960 recoveries have been recorded so far, of which more than 3 lakh 18,600 have been discharged in the past 24 hours. It has been noticed in some instances that citizens who have booked their appointment for COVID vaccination through the CoWIN portal but did not actually get themselves vaccinated on the scheduled date have received notifications through SMS that a vaccine dose has been administered to them. Upon examination, it was found to occur largely on account of the vaccinator wrongly marking the citizen as vaccinated, that is, an instance of a data entry error by the vaccinator. In order to minimize such errors and the subsequent inconvenience caused to citizens, the CoWIN system is introducing a new feature of a 4-digit security code in the CoWIN application from CoWIN application. Now, after verification, if the beneficiary has been found as eligible before administering the vaccine dose, the verifier or the vaccinator will ask the beneficiary about his or her 4-digit code and then enter the same in the CoWIN system to correctly record the vaccination status. This new feature will be applicable only for citizens who have an online booking for a vaccination slot. And amid the record rise in COVID infections in the second wave, medical assistance is continuing to pour in from countries around the world. The Ministry of External Affairs informed that 25,600 vials of remdesivir arrived in Mumbai this morning. Vials of remdesivir were donated by US drug maker Gilead Sciences. Earlier, on the 5th of May, the shipment of over 81,000 vials of remdesivir from the United States arrived in Mumbai. Over 1.5 lakh vials of remdesivir have been donated by Gilead Sciences. The Indian Navy has set up a 150-bed COVID care center at its training institute INS Chilka in Khurda district. Patients with mild symptoms of COVID to be treated in this hospital with an additional 15 oxygen facility at INHS Prevention. Navy personnel will also work with Khurda District Health Administration doctors and paramedical staff to take care of patients. This is a unique example of civil and military support for the treatment of corona patients. And a second consignment of 2 cryogenic tankers with 40 metric tons oxygen left Qatar to come to India. INS Tarkash left Qatar with the consignment. The Navy has deployed its 9 warships to ferry oxygen containers, cylinders and concentrators and related equipment from friendly foreign countries. The government has issued an advisory for induction of trained Ayush human resources for clinical management of COVID-19. The Ayush Ministry said that a pool of 8 lakh qualified Ayush professionals will become available for COVID-19 duties. The decision to deploy Ayush professionals to the front lines of the war against COVID is in continuation of many decisions taken a few days ago to boost availability of medical personnel to fight COVID. The ministry said Ayush doctors are institutionally qualified professionals, well trained in various aspects of medical care. It said the All India Institute of Ayurveda, New Delhi, which functions as a COVID-19 care center, is efficiently managing COVID cases at present. The ministry will support states and union territories in the development and conversion of Ayush hospitals to COVID-appropriate facilities. This will add 50,000 beds, 750 Ayush hospitals and 86 clinical facilities to the COVID-19 infrastructure. Considering the current situation in the wake of resurgence of COVID, the state and union territory governments have been advised to reach out to all qualified Ayush practitioners and persuade them to join the COVID-19 workforces in this hour of need. The services of these Ayush doctors can be utilized in the management of COVID-19 at appropriate levels. The deployment of Ayush physicians, postgraduate students and interns in clinical setups for COVID management may be undertaken under the supervision of medical doctors and specialists. The ministry said all such professionals who complete a minimum 100 days of COVID-19 duty will be given the Prime Minister's distinguished COVID-19 National Service Samman from the Government of India. Amid the surge in COVID-19 infections in Kerala, the 9-day statewide lockdown started this morning. The lockdown, which began at 6 a.m., will be effective till the 16th of May. Only essential and emergency services are allowed. Vehicles will be allowed only if they are carrying ID cards of essential or emergency services and those who carry a pass issued by police and having a self-declaration affidavit. Self-declaration forms are compulsory for emergency travel during the lockdown. Vehicles related to hospital emergencies and media vehicles are also exempted from the restrictions. While many people choose to stay indoors, public transportation including KSRTC buses and Kochi Metro are not allowed to function. Flights and interstate trains will be running as per schedule. However, all intrastate train services have been cancelled till the 16th of May. In view of the lockdown, the government will distribute free grocery kits through ration shops this month as well. The community kitchen, which was so successful during the first lockdown imposed last year, will also begin during this lockdown period. Tamil Nadu has also announced a complete lockdown in the state from May 10 to May 24th in view of rising COVID-19 cases. The lockdown comes just days after M.K. Stalin took oath as the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu and will come into effect at 4 a.m. on the 10th of May and be enforced till 4 a.m. on May 24th. In order to help people prepare for it, all shops and establishments are being allowed to stay open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. today and tomorrow. During the lockdown period, all shops except those selling groceries, vegetables, meat and fish have been banned from operations. Only takeaways and parcel services will be allowed in restaurants. Hotels and lodges will be open only for business visitors or medical reasons. All events including entertainment, social, political, educational, sports in closed and open air arenas are banned. Salons, spas or all recreation clubs, auditoriums, amusement parks, meeting halls are also banned from operations. All beaches across the state will remain shut. As per the new lockdown rules, e-commerce except Dunzo, Swiggy and Zomato will not be permitted to function from May 10 to May 24th. All private establishments except those provided with exemptions are prohibited from functioning from their office spaces. However, vegetable and flower shops on the footpaths are allowed to be open till 12 noon. Ration shops will also be open till 12 noon. Courts and judicial offices will be allowed to function. Journalists and media persons will be allowed to function. Continuous process industries and industries manufacturing essential commodities are allowed to operate. Banks, insurance companies are allowed to operate with 50% staff. In view of rising cases of corona infection in Karnataka, Chief Minister B.S. Yedurappa has announced a 2-week full lockdown, which will be imposed across the state from 6 a.m. on 10th of May to 6 a.m. on May 24th. During this time, no one will be allowed to leave except for essential services. Also, no public or private buses will be allowed within and outside the state. Travel will be approved for emergency service only. Movement of essential goods and essential services will be allowed, and groceries, medicines, milk shops to open daily from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Air and rail service will be allowed during the lockdown, but metro rail services will not be operational. Only emergency vehicles will be allowed on the roads. Railway stations and airport tickets will be mandatory for movement. Hotels, pubs and bars to remain closed. Construction activities with workers will be approved in Karnataka. A maximum of 50 people will be allowed in weddings and a maximum of 5 will be allowed at funerals. The decision of complete lockdown was taken after a meeting held yesterday evening when 49,000 cases of corona infection were reported in one day in the state. Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant has also announced a 15-day state-level curfew in the state from Sunday to break the chain. Curfew-like restrictions will be imposed However, essentials will be available between 7 a.m. and 1 p.m., while takeaway will be allowed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. There will be no restrictions on medical supplies. Also, PHC, CHC, private hospital staff will not be restricted during the lockdown period. The Telangana government has imposed more COVID-19 restrictions in view of rising corona cases and deaths in the state. As per a latest order, the ongoing night curfew across the state will remain in effect from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. every night for 7 more days. Curfew will remain in effect till the 15th of May. The number of persons attending weddings and funerals were capped, while all other public gatherings were banned in the state. The Chandigarh administration has again imposed weekend lockdown in the Union Territory to check the spread of coronavirus. The administration had imposed a weekend lockdown last week, while it ordered the closure of shops selling non-essential items till the 11th of May. It had imposed a daily night curfew from 6 p.m. to 5 a.m. The weekend lockdown will continue till 5 a.m. on Monday. And Delhiites in the age group of 18 to 44 years continue to struggle to find a slot for vaccination, even days after the drive started. Long queues outside vaccination centers and hospitals for COVID vaccination can be seen, but it is expected that in days to come, this might change. DD News went to one of the vaccination centers in the national capital to speak to Dr. Trivendra Chumbak, Chief Medical Officer, University of Delhi, regarding efforts to vaccinate the 18+ age group. Here's a report from our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya.
कॉलेज में वैक्सीनेशन कैंप हमने चलाया हुआ है और अभी तक तो हमारे पास 44+ पॉपुलेशन को हम वैक्सीनेट कर रहे थे, बट मंडे ऑनवर्ड्स हम 18+ भी करने जा रहे हैं। मेरी सब लोगों से रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा संख्या में आके अपने आप को वैक्सीनेट करवाइए, क्योंकि वैक्सीनेशन ही सबसे कारगर हथियार है इस कोरोना वैश्विक महामारी के लिए हमारे पास। इसमें जो भी लोग अपने आप को रजिस्टर करवाते हैं, जिसका जहाँ भी पोर्टल में जहाँ भी नंबर आता है उसको वहाँ जाना चाहिए। रश होगा, शुरू में बहुत भीड़ होगी, बट आप पूरी एहतियात बरतिए और अपने आप को वैक्सीनेट कराइए।
And India has said the TRIPS waiver will be an important step to enable rapid scaling up of manufacture and timely availability of affordable COVID-19 vaccines and essential medical products on a global basis. This was stated by Foreign Secretary Harsh Vardhan Shringla while addressing the UN Security Council high-level meeting on maintenance of international peace and security. Upholding multilateralism and the United Nations-centered international system, the Foreign Secretary said India has worked with South Africa and other partners in the World Trade Organization to seek a relaxation in norms of the TRIPS agreement to ensure quick and affordable access to vaccines and medicines for developing countries during the pandemic. Shringla said New Delhi has provided COVID-19 vaccines, pharmaceuticals and medical equipment to more than 150 countries across the world over the past 1 year. He also said India extends deep appreciation to those who have come forward to provide it with some priority requirements to battle the second wave of the pandemic. In October 2020, India and South Africa submitted a proposal suggesting a waiver for all World Trade Organization members on the implementation of certain provisions of the agreement in relation to the prevention, containment or treatment of COVID. Union Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan interacted with US Secretary of Health and Human Services Xavier Becerra and addressed global challenges faced by both the countries due to COVID. During the virtual interaction, Dr. Harsh Vardhan congratulated Becerra on assuming charge as Secretary of Health and Human Services and thanked his gesture to initiate communication to establish formal contact to work closely on bilateral cooperation and address global challenges amid the COVID outbreak. In agreement with Becerra's propositions, the health minister said, I quote, both nations have developed a strong collaboration in the area of public health, which extends to build and enhance the cooperation and support in the unprecedented times of the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's now take a look at updates on COVID-19 from across the world. The virus has so far infected more than 15 crore 75 lakh people globally, while the number of recoveries stands at above 13 crore 47 lakhs. COVID has claimed over 32 lakh 83,179 lives worldwide. The US continues to remain the worst affected, with the disease above 3 crore 34 lakh cases of infection. The country has lost over 5 lakh 94,000 lives due to COVID so far. In Britain, as COVID-19 cases continue to come down, the country has announced that people will be allowed to resume international travel from the 17th of May. However, Britain's Transport Minister Grant Shapps said the country has limited the number of destinations open for quarantine-free holidays to just a handful of countries as it cautiously emerges from lockdown restrictions. Portugal, Israel, New Zealand, Australia and Singapore all made the green list for travel in a system that will be reviewed every 3 weeks. Spain, France, Italy and the US, that are the top 4 most visited countries by UK residents in 2019, sit in the amber category. These countries listed in amber will require self-isolation on return to the UK. Green list travel will involve people taking 2 COVID-19 tests, one before arrival back into the UK and one within 2 days of returning. As Britain was among one of the worst affected countries from COVID-19, Britons were restricted to travel abroad. And in Greece, museums are set to reopen next week, a day before the official start of the tourism season on the 15th of May. Venues such as Athens' Acropolis Museum, housing archaeological treasures found near the ancient citadel overlooking the city, have been closed since mid-November, when a second lockdown was imposed to curb the spread of coronavirus. Residents of Mexico City will be able to attend open-air concerts and sporting events at limited capacities beginning next week after a sustained drop in coronavirus infections. The new measures, set to take effect on 10th May, will include expanded access to movie theatres, banks and hotel-based conventions. And that's all we have for you in this edition of the news at this hour. Thanks for watching. News and updates continue on DD News and DD India. So stay tuned. Namaskar.